Three past. That scores Derek Jeter. That would make it 7-1. Sixth inning. Posada rubs a little salt into the wounds. Bickety bang. His first homer of the year. The Yankees put the wood to him. The boss would be happy. They win at 11-2. Ted Lilly falls to 1-4 in 7 career starts against the New York Yankees. The Yanks win for just the 4th time in their last 13 games.
Well, to the lockout now and some actual news coming out of today's Board of Governors meeting. The league has decided not to go with replacement players, even if a new CBA cannot be reached before the start of the season. After a 4-hour rendezvous with NHL owners and GMs, it was decided that there will only be hockey next year if NHL players are on the ice. And as Corey Warren reports, it's a much different tune than the one they were singing the last time they met.
Everyone's planning to play in September, I know that.
That was then, but now it's a maybe. And refusing to call it an about-face or change in position, the NHL says it is now the best plan of attack to have no hockey in October without a new CBA.
We will continue to plan and work very hard with the Players Association in order to make an agreement, to reach a new collective bargaining agreement as soon as possible. If we do not have a new collective bargaining agreement, we will not open the season on time.
It was expected the issue of using replacement players would have dominated the 4-hour session. Its complexities and legal ramifications notwithstanding, it has instead become an option for the future, as has the entry draft once a new CBA has been completed, a deal that may be easier now that both sides are speaking the same language.
The union, having said for as long as anyone could remember that they'll never, ever, ever agree to a cap, is now negotiating a cap.
And certainly we've been at this a long time, and we've talked about a variety of different concepts. That's not our focus. Our focus is to try to find common ground.
Unity in the room, the feeling that we're getting closer to a negotiated deal with our players. It seemed everybody was really positive about that. It seemed to be going well.
In the meantime, the clock continues to tick in the face of shrinking revenues and an ESPN TV deal that has now been put off until June. And for the first time since the cancellation of the season, a new deadline for the PA.
We needed to have this board meeting and have this discussion with the governors before I can, proceed with the information of this meeting and impart it to the union. Every day it gets worse, and every day it costs the players money, which is why I'm hoping that the reality of where we find ourselves will, and since, as I've said, this is really now just turned into a dollars and cents negotiation, let's go do it.
I can't say it's a good thing for business that we have this uncertainty, and that's the message we're trying to communicate, that this isn't good for anybody involved in this industry.
Now, Gary Bettman would not say publicly what the deadline is to get a new deal done, but it was supposed to translate that message to Bob Goodenow late Wednesday afternoon. At that time, they were also supposed to set a new aggressive schedule of meetings, planning to meet at least twice a week over the next several weeks. Corey Warren, TSN, New York.
Okay, on we go now to our Grand Cherokee Insider Report. And while some members of the Board of Governors are trying to portray the league's decision not to go with replacement players as a conciliatory move or a show of good faith, it certainly is not that. They just didn't want to run the risk of replacement players. And with more, here is our panel.
Bob McKenzie, Glenn Healy, and Brian Burke joining us from Vancouver. And all you beer league superstars currently doing push-ups in your basement, getting ready for your shot at an NHL training camp in the fall. Sorry, looks like you will not be required, at least not yet. Coming out of the March 1st Board of Governors meeting, we were guaranteed hockey in the fall. Now the message has suddenly changed.
Well, that's right, James. The Wednesday Board of Governors meeting in New York, 2 very clear messages coming out. Number 1 message, designed for the players, and that is, if there's not a negotiated settlement, there are not going to be replacement players in the fall, and there's going to be more of the same for you. That is, more missed paychecks, not knowing when or if you'll ever get back to playing hockey again next season. The second clear message that's been sent out is to the owners themselves, saying if there's not a negotiated settlement, don't expect that we will be starting the season on time, because we're not going to use replacement players in October, but the National Hockey League is keeping the door open to allow the owners to revisit that in the fall and as a strategy down the road. Well, March 1st, all the Hawks came out beating their drums. This was a way for them to let off some steam. But practically, this idea was not going to work right from the start, an ill-fated plan. It was like when Coca-Cola came out with New Coke. Yeah, nice try. That was a flop. And this would be a flop, too. The exercise of going out, scouting these players, desperately failed. And you got to look at it morally. You got Wayne Gretzky, the best player in the game, saying, this just is not the way I want to be involved in hockey. So practically, morally, and strategically, it's just not going to work.
I think the National Hockey League, Gary Bettman and his group were horrified after the last Board of Governors meeting at the strong positions owners took about, we're going to play, replacement players are going to happen, it's going to happen. I know for a fact they did not authorize statements that strong. These are owners who felt that way going on their own. The National Hockey League staff has been very careful to speak in collective bargainese right from the get-go, where you don't take positions you can't step back from, you don't take positions you can't qualify later on, and they've been clear that all of these options are being considered. I think this is the right way for the NHL to go.
Well, if you listen to some of the owners and GMs coming out of the Board of Governors meeting, you'd think that replacement players don't matter anyway because they're getting closer and closer to a deal. Yet after the NHL-NHLPA meeting on Tuesday, no significant progress. What is really going on? There's mixed messages here. What's really happening in that room?
The new world has to be about partnership and trust. And the players are willing to be partners with the owners. That's why they've given up a cap. That's why they have a system with a floor and a ceiling, which is linked in some way to revenue. That's why they've given up their 24%. That's partnership. Owners, however, don't want to be partners with other owners. What their message is, we'll cut our deal with the players, and then players back off. Then we go in a room and we cut our deal with the owners, and we'll decide what we're going to do. Revenue share. This is the key to this. The concept put forward by the players needs revenue sharing. It's got to be upfront. It's got to be clear right from the start for there to be partnership. I certainly don't see any progress in these negotiations. The framework is there if the two sides want to embrace it, but right now I don't see the two sides embracing it.
And in fairness to the league, revenue sharing is not a mandatory subject of bargaining, but I think they have to put it on the table to make this deal.
All right, to sum up then, we've gone from guaranteed hockey in the fall to no guaranteed hockey in the fall. Some say significant progress, some say no progress whatsoever. It's status quo in the land of confusion. So until we meet again, or until they meet again, back to SportsCentre.
USA taking on Canada in Men's World Championship exhibition, and for the 5th straight year, Ryan Smith will be the captain of Canada, and Canada opens the scoring early. Some great passing in front. Dan Boyle to Danny Heatley. Rick Nash, nice chip. And Canada's up 1-0 early. A short time later, they're coming for more. It's Boyle in the slot. And a little trickler here through Ty Conklin. Team Canada's up 2-0 just like that. And the Canadian contingent is loving it in Halifax. Martin Brodeur holding his own between the pipes. First, snaps out his glove on the quick shot. And then another dandy on Andy Roach. Even with no NHL, Brodeur in mid-season form, and his night's over. In comes Marty Turco for a little work. Paul Martin tests him right away. Turco up to the challenge. Jan Stastny occupied the final roster spot for the U.S. Shane Doan makes him rethink that decision right there. Still 2-0 for Canada after 2, third period. Patrick Marleau, nice poke. He's on the breakaway, goes backhand. Conklin's up to the challenge. USA finally gets on the board here. Richard Park to Matt Cullen. And it is a one-goal game, but Scott Walker would add an empty net. Canada wins 3-1, and Ryan Smith pleased with his team's effort.
I thought the boys played really well, right on through. You know, they didn't give up, and they battled hard, and you know, you saw a tight checking game, but by and large, I think it was a good test right now.
I felt pretty good. You know, they came out strong, like at the end of the first and most of the second when I was there, and you know, it was nice to make some saves, get some you know, game action. You know, it's been a while to in the high level like that, and it was good.
Well, I thought it was a real entertaining game, but I think guys, the try was really there. They worked hard. You could see that the effort was really good, and it's a starting point. We know we can get better from here.
Still to come on SportsCentre, Vince or LeBron?
LeBron James! Oh my goodness!
One's in, one's out as the final playoff spot goes down to the final game of the season.
We get you back to baseball as Boston sends out Boomer to shut down the AL East leading Orioles.
And out to prove that they're the top team in the queue, Sidney Crosby and the Oceanic open their semifinal series with Chicoutimi.
Advanced hospitals don't take chances with unreliable equipment. So when they need business machines, they rely on Brother. Brother, reliability at your side.
Announcing the return of Mitsubishi's Triple Diamond Days. Get 0% financing on any new 2005 car or SUV. Mitsubishi, the best backed cars in the world.
Harvey's new Angus burger is a quarter pound of certified Angus beef. Come and get it. Harvey's French fries are now cooked in trans-fat-free oil. Thank you notes can be sent to the address on your screen.
He's one man. What can one man do?
One way to find out.
Triple X, State of the Union. In theaters everywhere, April 29th.
The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine. Wait till the warm-up's underway.
Wherever business takes you, Best Western is there. Best Western, the world's largest hotel chain. Now stay 3 times and get a free night on a future stay. With MasterCard, get a free night after just 2 stays.
When a kid really needs to talk to someone,
Kids Help Phone.
make sure we're there to answer. On May 1st, join the Bell Walk for Kids Help Phone.
TSN HD, redefining the image of sport. TSN HD is proudly presented by JVC. JVC, the HD technology leader.
SportsCentre, brought to you by Midas. Trust the Midas touch. And by Adidas Climate Cool footwear and apparel. Get it at SportCheck.
You know, yesterday Vince Carter said that he has been on teams where some players talk about making the playoffs, but don't really try to make the playoffs. Yeah, that was you in Toronto. Remember the not trying? Well, tonight the final playoff spot in the East was about to be decided, and the Cavs needed to beat the Raptors, while New Jersey had to lose to Boston to get in. You know, the playoff spot would be Jersey's. It was simplistic for them. All they had to do is win, and they were in. Raptor fans with one final wish as the season comes to an end. The last time LeBron paid a visit to the ACC, he torched him for 56, but they lost. Chris Bosh making a statement early on. He starts things off with that emphatic jam. At the other end, the King answers with a one-handed thunder, part of a 7-0 Cavs run. Meanwhile, Mo Peake trying to break some ankles, blows by LeBron. Peterson was 7 in the first quarter, but James would answer with some sweet moves of his own. Cavs end the quarter on an 11-3 run. They let it by 4. Second quarter, Raptors hanging around with a little showtime. Peterson goes up top for Bosh, but LeBron and homie don't play that. He finished the first half with 14 points, 11 boards, 9 dimes. He was 1 assist shy of a triple-double. Cavs by 15. Third quarter, James would continue to abuse the Raptors. He drills a pair from beyond the arc. The Cavs building up a 29-point lead. They were holding up their part of the bargain. All they needed to do was win. All they needed was a loss by Jersey. Sam Mitchell dumbfounded as to what to do. LeBron unstoppable. 27 points, 14 rebounds, 14 assists. Mo Peake, one of the last highlights in the season of lows. Cavs do their part with a 9-point win. The Raptors' frustrating season comes to an end. They finished 16 games under 500. They finished with their identical record of 33 and 49 from a year ago. LeBron records his 4th triple-double of the season. You know, the Cavs really didn't help their own cause, going 10 and 19 after the All-Star break, and somewhere Paul Silas is smiling. Now, what happened with Jersey.
Let me tell you, Dutch, they were in Boston, and of course New Jersey wins, and they're in the playoffs, but things going badly for the Nets early. They cannot seem to find the net. Finally, Vince getting a little room here, but he knocks knees with Antoine Walker. Carter is down. Oh, this does not look good. Carter would head to the dressing room in obvious pain. What will happen to their playoff? Oh my goodness, look who's back. Carter, back after just 30 seconds of play, tests the knee out, drains a three. He's in some obvious discomfort. The Celtics would add to that. Ricky Davis blows by Jabari Smith, other end. Jason Collins gets pushed around. The ball gets to Davis again. The Celtics